And welcome to Down the Alley. This is PMAC.
And Katie.
Little bit of a lighter crowd. No Ted tonight. I think he's down for the count this week. I haven't seen him since Monday.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep chugging along here. Katie and I have plenty to talk about. I feel like we haven't heard enough from Katie lately, anyways, so it'll be good to
Been
catch
has
up
not been
with.
on, I don't think, in 2024 yet.
You haven't been on in 2024.
I don't think so. Or even in December of 23. It's been a while.
Well,
That's okay though.
we're gonna definitely get to check in with you and see what Katie is up to. Kind of into this new year,
Mhm.
2024. But before we dive into that, our sponsor, Old Southern Barbecue, they're keeping us full. They're keeping us full in 2024. I'm really hoping Ted, he was telling us about those leftovers. He was posting them on Instagram last episode and last week. I'm hoping he publishes his recipe. We've gotten some DMs, people asking for, what Ted was doing. So,
What did he
um,
post?
he made a breakfast hash
Oh,
with some of the old Southern barbecue leftovers. I think brisket
yeah, I was gonna say
and
like
hot
bird
links.
or something. Yum.
Actually, I was over at his house. What day was that? Was that Sunday?
Yeah, yeah.
And guess what he had? Guess what he picked up before he came over?
Old Southern barbecue for
He
dinner.
can't make it up. He did. He
Wow.
picked it
I'm
up.
surprised there he had leftovers to make something with because when we all went, there were no leftovers.
Well, yeah, yeah. I don't
So
think
he
it's
got extra.
when you and I come over. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
we don't
leftovers.
have a lot of leftovers
But
at all.
yeah, I went over to Ted's and we were watching some football and no joke, can't make it up. Yeah, he picked up some old Southern barbecue to watch some football and
They do that a lot. I mean, they used to do that with a different place
but
on the
now
regular.
it's he's I think he I
He's
hope he has a
dedicated because
punch
that's
card.
kind of a drive for us to do like you hate to go. So I don't think you would ever do that. But
What do you mean?
you hate taking things to go.
Oh yeah,
You would never go pick up food and bring
I
it
don't like to
home.
do the
And
takeout. I like to sit, yeah.
that's like my love language. And you
Takeout.
don't ever let me do that. Or you getting me food, you never bring home food.
Well, I bring you to restaurants still.
I know I don't want to go anywhere. I just want you to
Yeah,
bring me food.
okay.
But like he does that a lot.
Yeah, no, they do a lot of takeout, I think, and lately it's been a lot of old Southern barbecue. And
Yeah.
Coach Sean, I know
Oh,
he just visited Old Southern Barbecue for the first
okay.
time. He brought his fam and good reviews. So, yeah, I think Old Southern
He's always
Barbecue's
wanted
this might have been
to try out the
Old Southern's
restaurants we like.
barbecue best business decision
Yeah,
was
I'm sure not,
sponsoring
but
this podcast because people
probably
are
there's
just
been other
lining
ones that are
up.
better. But Sean is good for a taste test of the restaurants we recommend.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. But going into playoff season for football, I know a lot of people are going to be getting takeout. Exactly
Yeah.
what Katie would
So
love. I got a message from the big man, Old Southern Barbecue. They got smokehouse packs. Great
mm,
for any group size as you're watching your favorite teams this weekend and over the next few weekends here. We got the big game coming up. We've got playoffs. We've got all, big games, big football games. Looks like the Pit Masters Feast can feed about six. The Party Pack can feed about four, depending on how hungry you are. So check that out. That's kind of what they're recommending. Um,
I
Katie,
love barbecue for those types of things because it like you don't have to worry about it spoiling and it reheats great. So like if you eat pre-game and you need a snack at halftime, it's the perfect thing. It doesn't get all like weird. Barbecue is just really good for that.
yeah, maybe you're having a pork sandwich pregame or during the first quarter, and then at
Yeah.
halftime you just throw that pork on some nachos.
I'm gonna say nachos too.
Yeah, we are on the same wavelength right now.
Yeah.
Um, we are not on the same wavelength of our swag tonight.
Yeah.
You're not wearing your new swag?
You didn't give it to me yet.
Oh, okay. It's always my fault. I gave you the
Yeah.
hat. I know I gave
I
you the
did.
hat.
You did give me a hat,
I
and I'm
know I gave
excited
you a
about the
hat.
hat. Yeah,
Uh,
these are limited edition Carhartt 36 ones that are
those are,
very warm.
it's a great
It's
sweatshirt.
probably my warmest sweatshirt. And today when we're recording, it's not very cold out, but it allowed me to go outside without a jacket on.
Fair. For those
So
who aren't watching or can only see half the sweatshirt, we kind of leaked it on a couple of the socials. Down the alley coaches summit. You gotta be in person, but we're gonna have a few extras. All the speakers. This is one of the hat options, and then we're gonna be slinging some sweatshirts. All the speakers are gonna get something because they're
yep.
giving away their time, their knowledge, their expertise to the people. We're going to be learning from them. We're going to be taking notes from them. I'm super excited about it. February 17th, probably like high school. Um, yeah, grab your spot now, downthealleypod.com. It's gonna be here before you know it. It's what, 3 weeks away?
Yeah,
3 weeks
I might
away.
have been looking at like went down a little bit of a rabbit hole yesterday. I had this idea. I don't know if I'm going to execute the idea, but if you're coming, it's just going to be a fun day.
Katie's got
So
an idea,
there might be some surprises along the way. I'm just
and we've
saying that.
and
Like
we've got
it's gonna be worth your time, not to just like hang out, but if I execute what I'm thinking I'm gonna do, you're gonna be happy. You're gonna be walking away happy. I'm just gonna say that.
I don't even know what she's talking about. So this
I
could be
know.
breaking.
I
It's
know.
not on the Excel
Because
spreadsheet.
I don't
I've
think
got
I haven't told anyone even. I just kind of had this idea and ran with it.
interesting.
But you gotta go. The speakers are amazing and we can't thank them enough. I'm excited to just like get their knowledge myself. But yeah, it's gonna be a good day. And like I said, you might be walking away a happy camper. You will be walking away a happy camper because not only will you just be like so rejuvenated from and getting into the lax spirit, there might be some extra goodies that you're going home with.
Interesting. Interesting. And I ordered a couple extra. There's not gonna be a lot, but you
Yeah, you
could
get your hands on
potentially
these
try to get your
sweatshirts.
hands on one of these. We're gonna be selling the extras. There's
You
limited
know it's gonna be
sizes,
cold come high school
limited
season.
quantities, limit. Somebody in the Discord said, "Oh, send me." There's no link. There's no. This is limited edition. There's no
Yeah.
links. There's no. This is special order. There's gonna be a couple
The
left.
Discord is still around.
Discord has never been more alive. Never been more alive. The
This is
Discord
news
is
to
alive
me.
and well. Alive and well.
This is
Uh
news to me.
no, it shouldn't be. Old Southern Barbecue. Thanks for being our sponsor. Down the alley
Did
coaches
we
summit.
mention, I don't know what we told, but the big man at Old Southern Barbecue told me something I'm really excited about that we're not going to announce today, but maybe next week for Valentine's Day.
Not today. Not today. That's not
Okay.
on
Because that's
today's.
something
It's not.
that
Are you looking at the spreadsheet? We're not
no,
talking
yeah,
about Valentine's Day. We're not
I'm
talking
sorry,
about
but like we're
playoffs.
thinking about it.
Okay. Well, you
Spoiler.
are. You are. The
Like
women
that
are.
little running emoji is going to be me.
Okay. Okay. That is enough on that. Katie, what have you been up to in 2024? What are things? What's going on with you? What do you want the people to know? People hear from me every week. People hear
I
from Ted
know.
most weeks. We get the visitors on. We
I
just want
know.
to check in with Katie. You're on the girls' side of things. What's up with Katie?
Where do I even begin? Where did I leave off is the question. Somewhere in like around Thanksgiving, probably.
Sure.
It was great. We had a great holiday. That feels like forever ago now. Um, girls SDP training is going awesome. We've got quite the lineup. Some 2024s have been frequenting training, which is really exciting because that senior year, like you're not necessarily on Team 36 anymore. You finished your last summer with the travel. So it's super fun to have them back up in training. Lately I've been scheduling all of our travel for Team 36 and making sure we are registered for tournaments and getting our hotels and hotel blocks. And trying to just keep the gears going behind the scenes at Team 36 and beyond.
Thank God you're doing it because that type of stuff, I like to be on the field. I like to get the boys buzzing.
Yeah.
I like to be on the sidelines. I don't like to be doing
Yeah.
hotel booking.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good. I got some new desk accessories, so I was really excited about that. Did I mention my two? I don't think I've mentioned on the podcast my two planner. I'm a two planner person now. I don't think I've talked about that on the podcast, have I?
I don't believe you've mentioned it on the podcast.
I couldn't have because it's been a 2024 thing. I have always, this will be my rant, but it's a good rant. I've always been a paper planner person. I've always had one. I've loved always getting notebooks, notepads, pens, school supplies. And even with like the new age of an iPhone, I used to use Outlook, which I really did love, but now I have Mac and I don't use Outlook on my Mac. I literally use the mail icon. I think I'm the only person who uses that. We got Gmail. We've got our iCal. I love it. I still, among all of that, have used a paper planner and I love it. And I found a YouTube community and like Facebook groups. This is like kind of making me seem like an old grandma now of people who like do their paper planners on YouTube. It's like you can find anything on YouTube, and I have gone down the rabbit hole of people videoing themselves filling in their plan, and it is giving me life. I first found this really cool company, no free ads, called Laurel Denise, and I have it right here. So if you're watching, I'll show you. I don't know how I came across it on Instagram, but it's like big. You're not looking. It's like big. So it's like the size of a piece of paper, as opposed to like a normal agenda that's kind of like a different size. So I got it and I love it, but I didn't love it for like my personal stuff. So I use it only for work stuff and it's amazing. Well, then I decided I needed a different one for my personal one. So I got the OG Erin Condren one. If you know planners, you know that Erin Condren is like the creme de la creme of a planner. Um, and so now there's like people out there who post like their planner stack. And there's these women, mostly women out there. And like there's this whole other genre of like putting stickers and like journaling. And it's called scripting, where you like sit down and you're not just writing like your appointments, you're writing like your intentions behind them. And I love all that kind of woo-woo stuff. And so I am now a two-person planner thing, and I have a nice journal that you got me actually with my initials embossed on it.
Not a
So
big deal.
I'm on my way to being able to like be a member of this community. I post in the Facebook groups. I mean, this is like
Did
colors
they have a
and
Discord though?
post-its. I mean, I should look. I think it needs to be more of a visual thing. Can you post pictures in the Discord? I should
That's a
look because
that's
that
a
would be
great question.
something these
Don't
people.
give our Discord people any ideas.
Okay, I won't. But like I showed you that cleaning chart I made the other day. And so now I'm a two paper planner person, and it is making my life complete. So I highly recommend if you use a paper agenda, um, to get a second one for something. If you work, great. If you don't work, um, I don't know, maybe that might be excessive because I like having work be one. All of our 36 stuff is in my big one, and then all of our like personal stuff. And
Not to one up you,
it's a
not
waste.
to one up you, because
What do
I'm
you?
not going to be the one upping you, but Coach Cap, Mrs. Cap, I
Yeah, she
again
has great.
random like her Instagram story. I
I
saw
know I should
three
look that up.
planners. I
I
saw three
know.
planners.
Are we sure they're all planners and not like a journal? I should ask her about
I
it.
guess I didn't ask. I didn't ask. I didn't follow up, but I saw she might
I
be
mean,
a
that
three.
makes
I don't
sense.
know.
That makes sense
Are
because
there
like,
three planner
oh
people?
gosh, yeah. I mean, stacks. And then they've got like they've got like leather bound things that hold all of their planners in it. And they like spots in their house, like family, because then you have to have your family planner where like the kids can look. It's like essentially an old school Alexa, and it's everything. And it gives me a lot of life. So that's what I've been doing. I've
Is
been
this
watching
gonna is
YouTube.
this going to um is this gonna lead to more wins for the Lakers in the spring?
I hope so. It's gonna
To
at
to
least keep
connect
me
all this
organized.
back to lacrosse, because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
we're a
you're right.
lacrosse
I don't know
podcast.
about wins, but
Are
I
are, are
definitely
you
feel
gonna be a
like
more organized
I'm,
coach?
oh yeah.
Are you
I
gonna
mean, I
be
feel like I already was an organized coach. This is gonna for sure. I mean, shoot, I could get another planner just for the season. Like
oh
my coaching planner where I have like ideas written down and like practice plans. This could be an idea. I could make one and show it to people,
you
sell it to
could
people.
sell it. Yeah, I don't know that world. I'm not in the multi-planner people Facebook
I'm really
groups.
bad at using the computer to put my ideas on the computer and then like print it. Like I know what I want, but I would have to like hand draw it then, which I could do. Now my wheels are turning. Now maybe you'll walk away with one of those at the summit. That's a lot of time to come up with
I
that,
don't
but
know. I don't know.
that's what I've been doing. I've been filling up my planner. Laurel Denise, they've got a YouTube. Aaron Condren, no free ads. I'd be happy to talk paper planning because like it really does just give me life. I could sleep with it. And then there's stickers, and then there's like paper clips, and it never ends. It's really fun. There's this little stuff like things you make charts with, and it's really good.
Well, on to lacrosse. We started making that connection. If hopefully this all equates to more wins. And we're gonna be talking about winning lacrosse programs. Coming up here. One of the favorite, as we get to Feb, I think people in the down the alley community, they look forward to Feb because we start doing the section by section breakdowns. The comments start getting a little spicier. We get more text messages on Friday afternoons after people start listening in the morning. The Twitter starts ramping up on the debates on this is our section or this is our so we're adding a segment. We're adding this one segment before we get to Feb where we do the section breakdowns. And that's we're gonna look back. We're gonna look backwards quick, for a quick moment before we look forward into the upcoming season. And we're gonna be looking at the winningest lacrosse programs over the last 3 years, the post-COVID era. We've had some great eras of Minnesota lacrosse, um, and currently we're in the post-COVID era. I feel like once COVID hit, everything kind of reset. Some things stayed the same. A lot of things changed. With programs and whatnot. So, I'm excited about this. I cannot take credit for these statistics. And I also did not fact check these statistics. So, like everything we say on Down the Alley, take it with a grain of salt, fact check it. I got this from, I believe, well, I'm naming, and they kind of named themselves. So I'm going to confirm the name. I think they kind of gave them their name this themselves a little bit. The Lax Nerd Source. Um, the Lax Nerd Source. That's going to be the name that I give them. We can thank the Lax Nerd Source for these statistics, the breakdown, and everything that kind of goes along with this topic and bit. They did a lot of research, into this. I At least it appears like that. I couldn't do this um, you know, quickly. So I appreciate the work that they did, the time and effort they put into this. Um, and I hope we see the Lax Nerd Source Instagram handle, Twitter, and Discord. Join the Minnesota DTA Nation lacrosse community and start contributing under the new handle. Katie, I know I sent this over to you. Did you at least take a quick glance? Obviously, we're going to do a deep dive into this. I think I'll even share my screen and we can rip through this. But did you take a look at this at all over the last few minutes here? And any before we get into details, any quick reactions? Did you like this? Is this interesting? Is it did what are your thoughts before we dive into it?
I did look at it. There's not a lot of surprise. It all shakes out. I think it all shakes out. This, I will say, is not my strength, nor is it really, I'm a little bit more, which is funny because I'm super detail oriented, but I'm not a stat analytics person at all. Like at all. Like you could
Interesting.
literally just type letters and numbers on this, and I probably would see the same thing as this. So it's not my strong suit.
Okay.
Like this could be just like you could literally type fake things and I believe it probably. So
And
it'll be
a lot of
interesting.
disclosures. A lot of these aren't official stats. These aren't.
Right. This was
I
just, I mean, like, but like I said, this is just like I'm kind of looking at it cross-eyed because it's
Yeah,
just not my
sure.
thing. Um, I like colors and like
And I didn't spice this up. I
more
didn't add the
stuff. You know what
colors
I
or the
mean? I mean, I know what
graphs,
it is,
and
but like a spreadsheet to me is like snooze.
okay, fair enough. I think it.
If
I
this were in post-it notes on a calendar, that would help me out. But
You'd be all over it.
this I'm just like it's gonna be tough for me to have a lot to say about it, but I'll try. But there's definitely some things that jump out at you.
Um, yeah, no, I'm interested to kind of go through this and dive into it. And not to give it away, I'm excited. A different way to look at it, right? Or to kind of combine it. Oh, that's my teaser. For the last kind of section of this. Is interesting. Again, another way to look at the stats, if you want to call it that, another way to look at it.
You want to know what I will say though? We have multiple times we've gone back, you and I specifically, and like looked at like state appearances or like you and I have done like the like who was there or like what year was that? Who did they play? Was that 2018 or like we have gone back and tried to pull it up and we have talked about on the podcast for the lack of like a place where all the stats for lacrosse are housed. Obviously, it sparked a big debate in terms of player stats, but just stats alone of like who went to state, who won state, who
yes,
won.
it is
I mean,
not
it's just
housed. It is
that
not housed cleanly.
alone is lacking. And then don't even get me started on like just as we've tried to uncover, like who's breaking records, who's breaking school records, who's breaking state records. Like it's too bad that they're not more detailed, that they're not out there more because I feel like there's some recognition that's getting lost in translation because we don't know what the record is. So I will say this is super cool now to kind of have like a concise place, and if this person like clearly likes doing this kind of stuff, keep it going. You know what I mean? Like, and at least there's some sort of unofficial piece of paper that like you can look at, and it's not all the teams in the state, it's just the winningest. But it's like, hey, if there's a Google Doc we can all just tap into and be like, oh yeah, in 20, because you know what I mean? Now 2020 is going to be so far, well, 2020 won't matter, but 2019 is 5 years ago, right? 4 years ago. 5 years ago. Oh, and does Golds love stats?
We're gonna find out. We're gonna add a third voice into this.
Got
I
it.
sauced out a invite to just have a third set of eyes and voice. Goltz. I think he's there. I think he's joined. A non-opinionated person at all. So hopefully Goltz is willing and able to add something to this conversation. Goltz, welcome to Down the Alley.
Hey, welcome here. I'm joining from my phone right now, literally laid in bed
Love
as you
that.
were texting me. So, yeah, I don't know what conversation I'm adding to right now, but
No, that's
I'm
great.
here, ready
Um,
to rock and roll. And yeah,
so the Lax Nerd source sent over some statistics. I did not double check these statistics. I didn't confirm them. But they clearly put a lot of work into this. It's going to be an interesting conversation. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it takes us. If I share my screen goals, are you going to be able to see what I'm doing, or do I need to email this over to you?
yeah. I mean, you could share your screen. I'd be able to see it there. But if you just want to send it over my way, I can open it up and
Let's
look at
see.
it that way too.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to share my screen. Without further ado, again, all disclosures. These aren't um these aren't official these aren't confirmed, stats. These aren't official in any way. Um Here is the document from prompt props to the Lax Nerd source. So we're talking about the winningest lacrosse programs in the post COVID era. And we're gonna start on the girls. Girls first. Um, Katie, let's start from the top here. Who do we got?
Obviously, no surprise. Lakeville South, 93% wins since 2020. So the 2021 season. That actually seems low. I guess the four, I mean, I know what percent how to make a percentage, but I feel like they've literally lost like 2 games. So
Yeah, right. Lakeville South has been dominant, has been to state the last 3 years.
yeah, I guess they
So
lost four
every year
games.
in the
Yeah.
post-COVID era, they've been an absolute wagon. One of the deepest teams, if not the deepest team in the state on the girls' side, in my opinion. Even in the off-season programs, they're running two varsity teams, essentially in the winter leagues. They're a team that I don't see slowing down. They kept going. They kept their dominance going through the coaching change. This is a program of that's proven the excellence there. How'd they do last year? Again, we were just talking about this. Oh, how did that team do last year? Obviously, they're in the state tournament. Were they upset in the semifinals last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Benilde.
Yeah, that sounds right. Again, off the top of our heads, don't quote
Yeah.
us
And
on
then
that.
Benilde and Edina, right? Or was it the quarterfinals?
I
I
think
don't
it was the
remember.
semis. I think it was the semifinals. Regardless, Lakeville South, the most winningest
Yeah,
program
no
in the
doubt.
post-COVID era. Yeah, not really a surprise there. Um, On to the next one. Prior Lake, 45-5, 90% winning percentage. These numbers are insane, right? Like
Yeah.
this isn't normal. State appearance, 2021 champions. And that's been it. A team that's been winning this much. Again, sore subject with with
I
with
know.
Katie on the phone here, but a team that wins this much, two of their losses of the five,
Yeah.
are in the I guess second biggest game of the year. I guess you could say
Yeah.
for a team, the section final, both by one goal. Am I off on there? What were the scores in the section final
Mm,
last 2 years?
couple goals against Rosemount, I think.
Okay. Okay. Then that was last year. No, that was
No, 2 years ago. Edina was overtime.
yeah. right?
So
Just
2 years ago
gut-wrenching games.
against Rosemount, it was a couple goals, I think. I tried to block it out of my mind.
So,
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at it, take a step back, a 90% winning percentage is huge.
well, and yeah, right. And then, a team that, maybe teams are starting to forget, right? Because they're not in the state tournament. Teams and programs across the state who's they're not saying who's Prior Lake, but like, oh, they haven't been in state in a couple years. Like, you
So
know,
honestly, when I look kind of, I know we're starting at the top, but that's kind of how I felt looking again towards like the bottom of the list. Yet
interesting.
they're like, for example, that's immediately what came to mind when I saw Eden Prairie. Because I'm like, who are they? Like, okay, so they went in 2021. I don't even remember them being there. Obviously, you cannot argue against Eden Prairie being dominant because of their history. But
Correct.
like, yeah, okay, they have a winning record. And like same thing with like, I guess then bounce back up to the top, Maple Grove. Like the top four winningest program. And I'm like, who
Yeah.
are they? But like they were there in state too. I guess I just had like
Yeah.
I was too engrossed in ourselves in 2021 because like that's so interesting because I love them. I love Maple Grove. They have a coaching shift this year, and like I love an upcoming program, but at the same time, I'm like a top four winningest team. Maple Grove is the top four winningest team.
Well,
That's so surprising to me.
we're skipping over Edina here, so let's kind of go in order since that's the direction we're going. Edina, I got 43-6, 87% winning percentage. Again, a team winning that much, only one state appearance. When you're in a section, right? When you're in the
Yeah,
same section as Prior Lake, all Rosemount, um, it's starting to add up when you've got these teams, in the same area,
right.
going head to head. Okay, well, that's why Prior Lake's only been there once in the post COVID era. That's why
Right.
Edina's only been there once in the post
But
COVID
then
era.
seeing Edina's record, I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. For sure they should be there. But maybe it's just because it's top of mind because they were good last year.
Colts,
But
anything to add yet?
Yeah, I was just about to talk about the whole like Prior Lake Edina thing right here. Don't want to start hopping into the boys too much, but I feel like over the past, I don't know, few years, it's been just like Prior Lake Edina in the section championship.
it really feels like that.
Like a lot of the time, and it's the girls' game is always right before the guys' game
It's an electric
Yep.
factory. It's an
every
absolute
year,
electric
every
factory.
every year for Prior Lake. And so yeah, that was something that I was just was observing there. Um, I don't know if I want to hop into Maple Grove quite yet. Do
Well,
do we want to?
yeah, going to Maple Grove, I think we got our point there. Section 6. It's an absolute grind of a section. Like Gold said, Prior Lake and Edina. On the girls' side, Rosemount's been in the mix too. But that section final last couple, 2 to 3 years, it's been Prior Lake Edina on the both in the boys and girls' side, not to sneak ahead to the boys conversation. On to Maple Grove, 40-7. 85 winning percentage. I kind of to Katie's point, this one surprises me. Just in the terms because they've only been to state once, but when you kind of peel back the layers, okay, obviously they're a really good program. Big school district, huge program, and who's in their section? The Scarlet Knights. So that's why they're not making it every year. Amazing record. Katie Colts.
For
I
sure.
kind of wanted to tailor off of what Katie said earlier. This is Maple Grove's a sleeper, and again, not to go back to the boys, but it's it's almost the same. It's almost
Yeah.
identical since I've been playing. lacrosse, Maple Grove was always kind of like sneaky. And it's like, where did they come from? But they're always good. They're always competing. And it looks to be the same way in the girls that, I mean, they're very dominant. And with Benilde in your section, Benilde good in the girls, good in the boys, it's hard to make it out of there. But you're still a good team, have great winning record. Yeah, just it's almost I don't know where Maple Grove gets their juice from. I really don't.
Yeah.
I'm just not familiar with the northern suburbs because they're so close to Canada. But yeah,
You're gonna get ripped for that.
yeah, whatever. It is what it
Maple
is.
Grove's a
But
nice town.
So,
it is a
okay,
nice
hold
town.
on. Something I just noticed. Looking at the stats here, state appearances, Maple Grove made it in 2021. Benilde made it in 2021. I thought they were always in the same section as Benilde. Did that change
It
for
must
20?
have changed. It must have. Because like Rosemont was in
Interesting.
our section and then it wasn't, or vice versa.
So in 2021, the section final for them was they were in section 8. So they played Elk River in 2021. Interesting. Food for thought.
Yeah.
Katie, back to you on Maple Grove.
That's all I got. I kind of already talked about them.
Okay. On to the Scarlet Knights of Benilde. 47-10. Over an 80% winning percentage. They've been in the state tournament every year in the post-COVID era. The
That's
only
wild.
other team on this list to do it is Lakeville South. A team on the rise. The boys got dominant first. The girls closely there followed. We've had their staff on the podcast. After speaking to them, it's no surprise, with the success that they've had. It's been a slow build. They've gotten better every single year. And in 2023, they finally reached the mountaintop with a championship. Benilde 47-10. And I would say that percentage is only going to go up based on what we've seen over the last few years.
I think you wrapped it up nicely. Like, I mean, I think that their stats speak to it of like they have a great winning percentage and they grind in the postseason and made it state. And it paid off this year.
Chanhassen 43-10.
Whoa! Hold up, we're not done talking about Benilde.
Well,
here.
then speak up, dude. Like usually I gotta shut you up, dude. Like what? You're sitting on your thumbs over there. Let's go.
I mean, so there's no surprise here. I mean, everyone's got to say it. If you're walking the hallways with Gus Bell, there's just no way you're not bound to do good. I know he's not playing for the girls team, but there's just no way. You walk the halls, there's just an aura about this kid. So,
right.
I think
you're saying that his presence has impacted the success of the girls team.
No, that's an interesting point. It's like bringing, Tom Brady to Tampa. The sales team's going to be better. The GM is going to be better. The running back is going to be better. So do you think Gus Bell has had a similar impact on the girls program at Benilde St. Margaret's that Tom Brady had down in Tampa?
I'm shutting this down. You can talk about Gus Bell when we talk about the boys. You're taking away the credit of the girls doing well.
It's obviously
and that's patriarchy goals. So get with the program. Get with 2024.
That is not how I meant to. I just wanted to pump Gus's tires, but
you can do that when we're down in their number one moment in the boys.
Okay. It was a joke. It was a bit. We don't
edit that out.
We don't edit the podcast. On to Chanhassen, another big program, big school district. Checks all the boxes, right, of a team you'd expect to do well. Chanhassen 43-10. Another team over that 80% winning percentage mark. Been in the state tournament last 2 years. A team that's had a couple of studs. Up and down that lineup.
I felt the opposite about them as I did about Maple Grove. They seem way more dominant than where their rank is on this list.
Interesting point.
That's just my.
That's just your gut.
I have nothing to back it up. It's just how I feel.
I'm willing to bet that the 43 wins they had Chipotle as a pregame meal, and the 10 losses they had Qdoba.
You're right. You're right.
I think
You're
I'm willing
probably
to put money on that.
I think
Like,
you're right.
I would follow you on that bet. I would
what did they
follow
what
you
did
on
they
that bet.
eat before? What did they eat before those games? I want to know.
Those losses. You're right. You're right.
Andover, a team that you know, or sorry, a school that just seems to just be a sports school. I don't know.
Yeah, they're
That's again,
winning.
that's they breed winners, they're raising winners, they love winning championships. They haven't done it in girls lacrosse yet. But 40-10, they're winning games. They're winning games, and they made it to state twice already in the post-COVID era. Andover, the Huskies, I believe, they love winning lacrosse games. They love winning championships. Um, I would say this is the first team where I'm like, oh, like, where'd you come from? But it makes sense as an athletic department. They love winning.
I think this is the team that's going to be on the rise.
My thoughts on Andover is, honestly, I'm surprised they're this low on the list. I don't follow girls lacrosse probably as closely as you two do. Definitely not as close as Katie does. But outside of Lakeville South and Prior Lake, Andover, I feel like for me is the most heard about
Mm,
girls lacrosse team in the state. So I'm actually
interesting.
surprised they're down here. Not surprised at the state appearances, considering how much I've heard about them. Um, I am surprised that they haven't won it yet,
Yeah,
based
I
off
kind
of
of feel like
what I've heard.
why do I feel like they were there last year?
I don't know. You can
For
look
some
on
reason, I
Lax
thought they were like consolation champs last year.
Look on
Maybe that
Lax
was
Hub.
2 years
Confirm
ago.
the stats, right? We didn't confirm this. We're trusting the Lax Nerd source. On to the next one. I'm sure Goltz is going to have a lot to say about this. The lacrosse community, Stillwater, 42-12. Again, not a bad record by any means. 78% winning percentage. Has been in the state tournament the last 2 years in the post-COVID era. A huge program, one of the biggest lacrosse programs, if not the biggest lacrosse program in the state. They dominate at youth. I don't
Yeah,
think
I
they.
would just like to say I've been coaching 10U for 3 years and we've lost to them in like 3 championship games.
I don't know if I've ever beat Stillwater at the youth level either. Again, a program, a community that is massive, seems to always be growing, athletes everywhere. Again, I'm not chirping the record. I'm not chirping where they are on this list at all. Again, I would, my gut's telling me though, I would expect them up, closer to Lakeville South. I expect them to, maybe have a championship, under their belt. I don't know if they've won a girls championship. If I'm completely wrong on that, correct
I
me.
don't think so. I think they either got like
They've been in the mix, right? They're in the mix
yeah,
on the boys and girls side.
the year it was at Chan, they might have either gotten consolation. They might have won the consolation. So no, they haven't won one, that's for sure. But we
Bolts.
love we love Stillwater.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the concessions?
Yeah, I mean, like, do I do it now or do I wait for the boys? Like, I don't know. I'm sick of this place. I'm sick of Stillwater. Sure, they've got a great lacrosse program. Have no idea how they do it. Katie, I don't know if it's the same on the girls' side as it is in the boys. Like, are there youth girls teams seem like
Insane.
they're seem like
They're
they're 4 years
insane.
four
They
years
had a
older than the age that they're
U14
playing in?
team. They had like a U14 double A team this year playing in like the U18 Mislax.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's something in the water, and for some reason, I don't know why, but it just goes as far as their youth program, and then it gets to high school, and then it's like, oh, they're normal again.
Yeah.
But yeah, the concessions, they got to figure it out. They got to. I get the pretzel every year because the first time I got it, terrible, and I just go back in hopes that it might be better, but really, I'm just hoping that it's just as bad, just so I can say how bad it is, and it never fails to be as bad as I think it's going to be. It's
Didn't they like
always
run out of water or something this
oh
year?
yeah, they ran out of water last year. Like what the how do you run out of water in the middle of what is it, June?
Yeah.
And it's like 100 degrees. It's the hottest weekend. State tournament weekend is always the hottest weekend in Minnesota, and they run out of water. Stale
Yeah.
pretzels. They got the nasty nacho cheese in that crock pot that hasn't left the concessions for five
Yeah.
years.
Back
Oh,
to the
Massive.
South Side, South Suburban Conference, Section 6. Another team on this list. This is a lacrosse community. The Rosemount, the Irish, 34-13, great record, over 70% winning. Been to state in 21 and 2022. Again, lacrosse community, really good program. Always in the mix in the South Suburban. They love going to state. They love, causing havoc in sections. Rosemount, lacrosse community, Irish.
I got nothing. I mean, it just that's a great, I think that's like a really, you want to look at the list, I'm like, yeah, it's probably a good spot for them. They beat us fair and square in 2022. And it was fun to see them there. I guess I didn't realize they were there in 2021.
Great head coach. How long's
Yeah, we love
Kelsey been there?
Kelsey.
Yep.
What?
A big fan of Kelsey.
We
Big
love
fan of their
Kelsey.
coach. She's gonna be speaking at the summit. Not a big
She's
deal.
been on the pod. She's
She's
been
been
on
on
the
the
pod,
pod.
and she'll be speaking at the summit.
How
So
how
yeah,
long's she been
we can't
there?
get enough.
How long's she been with the Rosemount program?
She told us, and
I was
now I
hoping
don't
you'd remember.
quite a
I'm just trying
while.
to pump her tires a little bit more.
I know. She totally told us. We'll have to go back and listen to that episode though.
Golds,
does
Rosemount,
does
you've had some history with them.
yeah? Does Rosemount have like from what I'm thinking of? Do they have like the grittiest parent fan base
That
in
I
the state?
don't that I don't know. I can't confirm or deny, but I really like their stadium. I like I don't know. I like we
And they
played
got
there
that new
last spring.
practice turf is so nice.
Their facilities have gotten
Yeah,
legit over the
I
last
haven't
couple of years.
I haven't been to that new stadium. Last time I was there, it was grass, so I don't I don't
Yeah,
know
they
what.
have turf and they have like a turf practice field right behind it too.
Rosemount was my hat chucking game of the season. I chucked my hat against Rosemount. I
There's
was
just it's
furious.
dude. There's something about Rosemount. It just they 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 love ruining like bias here. I think Prior Lake. They love ruining Prior Lake. It's
I
just
think
like,
they do
oh,
too.
it's like, oh, our best game's gonna be just ruining Prior Lake season. That's what we're gonna do.
For sure in lacrosse. Isn't
Uh,
their rival Egan though?
They border Egan. Well, it would be like Egan, Eastview, Apple Valley.
Like for like as a school, but like I feel like in lacrosse the rival is Prior Lake or Rosemount.
Yeah.
Champlain Park, 36-14, another team winning a lot of games, made it to state in 2023.
Yeah,
One of
this
the
this
best
team squeaked on the list.
one of the best social medias across boys and like best
Oh
lacrosse
yeah, their
social
girls,
medias in the
yeah.
state. Love what they're doing on the socials. And it's I don't know if that has a direct correlation with what's going on the field, but they're still winning games. They're not letting it be a distraction either. Champlain Park. Are they the
I'm really
Raiders?
are they the Raiders? I don't know. Their logo looks like the
Mm,
Patriots.
yeah.
There's
I
something.
don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
sorry.
what it might be the Raiders. I don't know, but I don't. Is it the Patriots? Is it the Patriots?
Let me look it up. Let me look it
I
up.
don't. Because
Continue.
Patriots doesn't make sense. But I'm really not surprised here, considering how good Canada is at lacrosse. They have to be
And
pulling
they're way up there.
from some of that. So,
Yeah. And doesn't a
um,
student do their social media? Wasn't that the thing? Or was it like they hired it out? A parent like knew someone and they did it
I mean,
their
that would be
social
the
media.
smart thing to do.
The
Is
Rebels. They're the
The
Rebels. The
Rebels.
Rebels.
But you're right, Golds. It is like the Patriots logo.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
Good for
Why is there
them. Good for them for making the list here.
go Canada?
Yeah,
Elk
this is
River Zimmerman, 35-14. State appearances in 22 and 2023. A program that's right there. They dominate their area. They've been making it to state, obviously. They're trying to take that next step. They have good. I think they have a growing youth program too. I'm starting to see them on the boys side of things
Really?
at tournaments as well.
I hope so. We love Elk River Zimmerman. It's like they couldn't finish it last year, but it's exciting that they went.
I've got nothing here as to I couldn't even point out to where Elk River is on a map.
By Cabela's.
I, I I've probably driven by that Cabela's, but I don't know where that is on the map.
Is that where the
Zimmerman.
horse track is?
Nope, that's
Running Aces?
other direction.
Running
Completely other
Aces?
directions. Yeah, that's like in Forest Lake.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
I
All
know.
right. You're right.
Elk River
Minnetonka.
is up north, straight north.
Minnetonka, huge program, huge school district, dominant athletics across the board, 30 and 14 in the COVID post-COVID era. They have not made the state tournament, but they love winning games. Not an easy section, not an easy conference.
Yeah. I would never. What is so funny?
It's I don't know, nothing.
We've had
I'm
some
not,
history with Tonka.
we have. I'm not surprised where they are on this list,
Are they
but I
the
don't
are
think we
they
ever
the
count them out.
like I don't want to be this person. It's just I feel like it's going to make people hate me even more. But are they the only team on this list that hasn't made the state tournament?
Yes. They're one of the winningest teams
That's all. That's all I have to say.
that haven't gone to the state tournament. You're right.
There's
And the girls.
there's 13 teams on this list. Number 13, Eden Prairie, 30 and 18, over a 60% winning percentage in the post-COVID era, made it to state in 2021. Again, another huge school district, athletic department of excellence. Eden Prairie, a long history of winning lacrosse games, and championships for that regard. Eden Prairie, 13th on this list for this era of time.
Coming in hot last, but they'll always be on the list to me, I think. I think they're always going to make the list. I don't think they're ever going to not be a winning team.
Yeah, they're like the best in history, right? And state
Probably
history
could argue that if you
between
had
between
we don't have
them or
stats
Blake.
anywhere, but you could
Because
probably
I want to say like when I was in middle school or high school, it was Eden Prairie and Blake girls
yeah,
were
you're
just
absolutely
throwing
right.
everybody. And didn't both of them have a couple girls on their team that were on Team Canada's national team?
Just one from
Okay.
Blake. But yeah, like just very dominant. So I think it's just their winningness isn't going anywhere. Even if they're the 13th out of 13th, I think they're always kind of included. I don't think they're ever going to be a losing record.
I like it. I don't think there's any, major surprises on this list. These programs have been making a lot of noise. And I don't expect, like, kind of what you said with Eden Prairie. I don't think any of these teams are going anywhere. I think year after year, for the foreseeable future, these teams are going to be in the mix, winning lacrosse games, competing for championships.
Who's in Minnetonka's section for girls?
EP.
Who
Chan,
else?
isn't it? You have to look that up.
Chan?
Is it
No,
the same? Is it the same as boys, pretty much?
I don't know. That's not what
Who's in the
this. That's
boys?
wait for section talk. That's next
Okay, my
week.
bad, my bad, my bad. I'm
We're
stuck
just.
on this.
I know. Stick to the list.
Not making
We're working off
there.
the list. On to the boys. On to the boys. The winningest boys lacrosse programs and teams in the post-COVID era on the top of this list with only 2 losses in 3 years. The Scarlet Knights of Benilde St. Margaret's, 54-2, a 96% winning percentage. State appearances in 2021, 2 and 3. Championships in 2021 and 2022. 54-2, the Benilde St. Margaret's Red Knights. No surprise here who's topping this list.
Yeah, again, I think 21 was Gus Bell's freshman year.
Sounds right.
So again, walking the halls. There's something about the kid.
He is the only common denominator. This program has gone through a coaching change, and they've still, been winning games, making it to state, all that good stuff. So, you have an argument there, Goltz.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, that program's just been a wagon for a while. I don't know what happened before Horn got there, because it's like before Horn got there, they were pretty legit. Then they kind of had like a gap. I don't even know who was coaching there, where they were kind of like, and then Horn kind of took over and then really revitalized it. And yeah, they've been pretty dominant ever since.
Catherine? Another team that
Sorry, I was muted. I got nothing.
It was
And I
the
think it's
patriarch. It was the patriarch.
You're right, it was. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's no surprise. I'm happy I got to see one of their losses.
On to a district we've heard about, and there is going to be some good overlap here between the boys and the girls. Chanhassen, 45-7, 86.5% winning percentage, been to state in 2021 and 2022. A program that's been right there. They don't have a C next to one of those numbers yet. But a team that's been right there. They've been in the hunt. They've had some of the best players from this state come from this program, pre-COVID, post-COVID, all that good stuff. So a program that develops players and is winning a lot of lacrosse games.
Yeah, this one, I mean, the fact that you mentioned that they don't have a C next to their state appearances as well as post-COVID era is kind of sad, because I feel like that 2020 year was really their year. I mean, they've had a ton of talent come through that program, but Team 36 bias here, that 2020 group that went through the program, there was just a lot of guys. They were clicking together. Obviously, you had a lot of talent, but they were deep too. And it just felt like those were the boys. That locker room seemed like it was probably a really good locker room. Everyone was on the same page. Everyone knew their role, who was the top guy, who was the D midi, who was the whatever. So yeah, that one is kind of saddening, but again, no surprise. They've had a ton of talent running through that program. Who's their head coach? I don't know. I know Hugdahl coaches with them. I don't know their head coach, but obviously he's been doing something good to keep that program spinning.
That staff has been in place for years, for a long time.
His name's John Junker. Yeah, and he's been there forever. Not forever, but like it's been at least 10 years, I feel like.
I think that because they used to be the Chaska and Chan used to be one program, and I think that split.
Yeah, when was that?
Like my junior year.
Oh, really?
So like 10 or 11 years, I think. I could be wrong.
If he was there then, yeah.
Interesting. On to the next one, number 3. This is my first surprise. And I'm going to say it's a surprise because they haven't been to state yet. But when you look at who is in their section and who doesn't lose a lot of lacrosse games, it makes sense quickly. Maple Grove, 39-8, over an 80% winning percentage. They haven't been to state because of the Scarlet Knights, but this team hates losing. A new coach took over last year, and they didn't skip a beat. Coach Ficken, we had him on the pod. Great interview. Seems like they haven't skipped a beat. 39-8. They don't lose many lacrosse games. Is this the year they get over the hump? I don't know. I just talked to one of their staff members. They think they got a squad this year. They're right there. They're right there year in and year out to get to the dance. I don't know if it's going to be the final dance, but they want to get to the dance. They want a seat at the table.
Yeah, Maple Grove again. I think just like the girls, they're sleepers. Everyone's kind of sleeping on them. They've never done any crazy damage with that state championship, state run. But they're good. They're a very good program, very well coached program. Shout out. I'm gonna call it the heart. I'm gonna call him the heartbeat of the program. Kyle Ramsey, guy's been around for some time. He kind of floats around, does everything with that program. He's stuck around with them the whole time. Been very true and loyal to that program through the coaching change and all that. So shout out Kyle Ramsey. I know that, yeah, like you said, Coach Ficken came in, took over that job, and he set the tone for what was to come ahead, and good on him. And yeah, looking forward to see what that program can bring in the future.
I think too, like, I'm surprised there are three, not surprised they're on this list. Surprised they're as high as they are, but it's like the same story as the girls. Like, really, the boys and the girls program are so aligned in Maple Grove of like, okay, yeah, you come, you play, you win. You can't really squeak too many state. The girls won obviously one or two times, but don't count them out. A segue into the next one, because I feel the opposite on this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Katie.
Like, I don't even, so I'll just segue for us. Chisago Lakes, 43-9. They were at state 21 and 23.
In 2021, they almost upset the Lakers. They had one of the most.
I don't even know where Chisago Lakes is, who they are, what their mascot is, what colors they are.
Chisago Lakes in 2021 had one of the most under the radar, dominant players in the state tournament. I don't remember his name, but their Fogo almost single-handedly beat the Lakers.
They had two. They had that really good Fogo and that really good lefty attack.
Yes, you're right, Goltz.
Yeah.
So, like, where did they come from? Where is Chisago Lakes? I'm gonna look at a map because
no clue. I don't want to say it, like, it's hard to say like this is fake, and I don't want to say it's fake because they did almost upset Prior Lake, but like where is Chisago Lakes? Who do they play?
Oh my, well, you're gonna see the border on this one.
I'm gonna get some haters after saying that one. The worst part about me saying that is the coolest thing about Chisago Lakes is they like took a bus down to come and watch a Wheat Kings game. So I'm a fan of Chisago Lakes, but it is odd how, I don't know. I don't want to say it's odd that they're that high up, but how do they get that high up? And they made it last year too.
Yeah, like
they've been in the mix and they dominate their area. So yeah, I
have a different. Chisago Lakes ever, PMAC, you can stop at Running Aces because it's on the way.
Sounds great. Love that place.
I bet this is actually like a really nice area because there's like, would you know it, a lot of lakes, and it's like kind of off 35. Huh. But they have some really nice homes out there.
Back to the southern suburbs, Shakopee, the Sabres, 42-9, over an 80% winning percentage. They made their first state tournament ever in 2023. A program under Coach Pollock. He's been building that brick by brick. That program gets better and better and better and better year after year. 42-9. If I had to guess without looking at this list, I wouldn't have guessed that good of a record over the last 3 years. Better than I expected, but it makes sense. They've been getting better and better every year. They won the South Suburban Conference last year. Made the state tournament in 2023. Were one goal away from the state championship game. The Sabres, they're away goon.
I don't know where I was, but I was not at the state boys state lacrosse tournament last year. I mean, I was, but I don't remember them being at state either. So good for me.
Yeah, Shakopee, Coach Polk's done a great job there with Shakopee. No, I don't see any surprises here. Don't they now have they have like a huge lacrosse facility, like only?
They have a lot of fields. I don't know the details, but yeah, they have they host a tournament. They've got games going on. We play them in YLM season and whatnot. Yeah, they've got some good facilities.
I kind of shot myself in the foot a few years ago. I remember I was just out doing some lessons, and Pollock saw me, and asked me if I wanted to be his D coordinator. And this was, I think, right when he took over Shakopee. And so he didn't really have anything in place. And me being a Prior Lake kid, wasn't really sure where I wanted to go with coaching. Was just like kind of like I don't really know this guy, and just kind of was like, sure, yeah, let's think about it. And then that was that. But I've also heard too that Shakopee, like all their staff is leaving.
Well, I guess I don't know all the details. I don't know everybody on their staff. I know for sure though, their D coordinator is up in Appleton, Wisconsin, coaching college now.
Okay, because
This could be your ticket in.
I can't do it now. I've said it. I'll say it publicly now. Where I'm at coaching, the only place I will leave for is for my alma mater currently. So, that's just where I'm at. And so, if and when that ever happens, I'm not saying it needs to happen now or what, but I'm sticking with Blake for a while, I think. So,
Bears.
yeah. But yeah, so the Shakopee thing, the coach is leaving. So glad to hear that guy like took a better job, because I'm thinking as a high school coach, there's not too many better opportunities than coaching Shakopee right now.
Well, you could always move to Chisago Lakes.
I could. I'm not saying like me personally. I'm saying with all these coaches leaving Shakopee, is from what I heard. Like you better have something better than Shakopee to coach. Right. Because I don't see a whole lot of opportunities better than coaching there currently.
You're right.
On to the neighboring city, Prior Lake. The Lakers, 44-12, just under that 80% winning mark. State appearances in 2021, 2022, 2023. One of the few teams on this list to do that. A team that at any moment, year in, year out, a lot of people are doubting going into the season. A team that has proven to be able to reload. Are they going to be able to do it again? No one knows. The Lakers, 44-12. They continue to find a way to do it. No championship, though.
Yeah, no championship in the COVID era. But I mean, I think some people might look at this and say, "Ooh, that's a lot of losses." But the reality is, it. I don't know if you're gonna like be the one to say it, but I'll say it, is that Prior Lake for the past few years has always had a slow start. Everyone's counting them out. They have you guys wait forever to play your first game.
And that's not by design. I'll leave it at that on the record. That's not by design.
I don't know how it happens. I don't know the details, but like whatever it is that happens, and you guys get a little bit of a rocky start, and you guys just figure out the pieces, and then by the end you're the well-oiled machine just rolling in the playoffs. So that might be why that's exactly why the 12 losses are there. Maybe some people should start taking some notes, because reality is the regular season doesn't matter. Everyone makes the playoffs. So having all these wins in the regular season may not be what it's all cracked up to be. But obviously you want to win, but um, most important thing is to figure it out by playoffs.
Katie, you see plenty of the Lakers from the other side of things, on the girls' side or from the stands watching the boys.
Yeah, didn't I say something last year really mean about them?
I think we probably both did, but I don't know.
I don't remember what I said. Yeah, I mean, definitely like takes a while to figure out, but that's okay. That's all I'll say on it. I said something last year and they got mad at me.
I mean, and I think a lot of it too. We got to talk about the coaching change just a little bit here.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
great point. Thank you for bringing
so
it up.
the that mentality. Anyone that knows Casey Methune is he's a very kind of go with the flow kind of guy. He's never gonna try to rock the boat too hard either way. And I think that's another reason for the losses early in the season. His it's not that he's content with losing; he's just composed with it, and so he'll soak those losses in the beginning of the year in order to figure out where certain people need to go, who needs to play where, what rules we need to put in place. So he's very good at that, where he takes those losses as just like learning points and how to move forward. Obviously, Kepner now stepping into that role. Um, I imagine he's going to be fairly similar considering he's been on the staff with Casey for a few years. You've been on the staff with him for a couple years, so I don't know if you want to talk on that much at all. But um, he seems like a pretty even tempered person that I feel like is going to have a fairly similar approach mentally to those games. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't want to, not wishing losses on Prior Lake, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have a similar season.
Yeah, no, that actually wasn't the direction I thought you were going to go with that. I thought you were going to go with the next man up kind of mentality of Prior Lake. With Casey being on the staff and Kepner taking over. Again, we had Kepner on, but again, shout out to him taking the program over, kind of next man up, if you will. Um, yeah, no, it. You never know. Every season is different. Every season is different. Every year you've got a new team, different group, different pieces, and different places. So, yeah, I'm excited for April 1st, and see how everything shakes out. You go in with the plan, and then your plan gets punched in the face. How are you going to react to it? Um, On to the next team, though. Moorhead, a team that's been to the state tournament every year in the post-COVID era. A DTA favorite down the alley nation loves them. The Spuds, an absolute wagon in their area. 39-11, just under that 80% mark, just like the Lakers, right there with them. They're waiting, or they're continuing to work to win that quarterfinal game. I expect them to be right back in the mix this year. Hopefully they get a little bit of a better draw at the state tournament. I'm rooting for that. Spuds, one of my favorite teams to root for. That's not the Lakers.
Yeah, they
I agree.
the random draw thing, that's crazy. 3 years random draw in the same spot. Um, None of my business, but I don't sip tea. Um, so yeah, Moorhead, I would say prior to last year, I would have said this is all fake. This is all fake. But then last year they had some heavy duty wins on their record.
And they come down. They schedule, man. They schedule. They want to play. They want to
Yeah.
play the big boys.
And what they beat, did they beat St. Michael Albertville?
If I was a betting man without looking, yes.
I think they did. They beat Minnetonka, correct? That was a big
They beat
one.
Shakopee, dude.
They oh yeah, that's right. But I mean, you can't make that excuse, but that was the travel game for Shakopee, correct? No,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
no
sure.
excuse. But yeah,
Dude, Moorhead
Moorhead.
travels. They've got Delta Sky Mile.
Yeah,
They're
no,
platinum members, man.
you can't make that excuse because they're driving to every single one of their games. So yeah, Moorhead had. I'm pretty sure they beat Minnetonka. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure they beat Minnetonka. They beat Shakopee. Those are two heavy duty wins. So like I said, like prior to last year, I would have looked at these numbers and been like, yeah, they just play up there. So like that makes sense. But they're not beating just the low end of the competition. They're showing up to places and they're beating the best of the best. So
Katie?
I got nothing. I like him a lot. And I agree with Golds. The random drive, forgot about that. But I'm always rooting for him. I feel like I watched some of their game in state.
I think
Again, I don't know where I was, but I was there because I remember watching them against somebody. Benilde?
probably. Yeah,
Did
we
they
were
play
there.
Benilde before one of the girls' games probably? And I was like really impressed. So I like where they're at in this chart, in this list. And I think they're a team that can keep going up or at least stay competitive right where they are. Maybe their percentage of wins don't go up, but I think we haven't seen the best of them yet.
I mean, they also have to like have like a little bit Canadian in them, right?
Oh, for sure. They for sure. I've never been to Moorhead.
That's where Sheldon went to high school.
Great.
That explains so much. On to the next school. Stillwater, the Ponies, 41-13, 76% winning percentage, state appearances in 21 and 22. Were they not there last year? Montemita went there last year. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Ponies, we are concerned about their concessions. I would say it's a similar story from what I said about the
We're concerned
girls.
about that shed too, remember?
We already got the lowdown on the shed. They got film breakdowns back there and stuff. I don't know. But the Ponies, huge school, huge program. Everything I said about the girls applies to the boys. They're trying to get over the hump. They've had some
We're
famous
always going to be in the
moments.
mix.
Huge stick check moment. We're not going to get into that right now. They've had huge moments. They've been right there. They've been right there. Are they going to get over the hump in the post-COVID era? I think so. You can't count them out. You can't count them out. They love winning games. The Ponies. I have nothing more to add.
Pre-COVID, post-COVID, we need to find a new location, like for the state tournament. I know that has nothing to do with the record, but maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe they're spending too much time around their concessions.
Has a host team ever won the state tournament? I don't think so. I'm gonna place a bet that they haven't.
Yeah, probably not because it's been
It's
at
a jinx.
Chanhassen.
You're
There's
jinxing
only been a
yourself.
couple hosts.
You're jinxing yourself. I wouldn't want to
Where,
host.
where have they hosted it? They've hosted it Chanhassen, Stillwater. They did a
So what
little
they do?
bit at.
Chan and Tonka, like the Chan
Didn't they
Tonka
do a little
combo.
bit at White Bear last year?
Oh yeah, White Bear last year.
But
Yeah.
that wasn't the. And then they
Great
did.
hot dogs. They had a great concession
What
stand.
was the one in the like in? Was it Roseville?
Roseville. It was Roseville
They
area
did-
high school.
I don't understand. I don't understand these odd selections for like the flip flopping between the quarterfinals and the whatever. I don't understand that. Was it hosted at Minnetonka?
I think when Chan
Remember.
hosted it, didn't they do they did the Chan Tonka split. Like those were the two
I have
fields
no
going.
memory of that.
I do. I have a great memory. On to the next school, Centennial, 37-12. This is a school that was like Moorhead, not on the girls list, correct? And I am correct. Centennial, really good boys program, 75% winning percentage in the post-COVID era. 2022, they had a really good team. And they made state in 2022. They were in the mix there for years as well. New coaching staff, Coach Beach, fan of DTA Nation. We're a fan of him. Stepped down after that 2022 season. Centennial, I would anticipate them to continue to be in the mix as they built a nice program, and I think their girls are getting better too.
I feel the opposite. I feel like they're their time is done. I like them. I don't know why though. I just feel like they're just kind of gonna they peaked and that was it. I
I
have
feel like
no reasoning to believe that. That's just how I feel.
Oscar the Grouch grew up in Centennial.
You think so? He
Yeah,
probably did. He
I
probably
don't know.
did. Probably still
I
there.
also don't know where Centennial is on the map.
It's by Lino
Um,
Lakes, I think.
all right, on to the next one. Back to the southern suburbs because you guys don't know the northern suburbs.
Like you do?
Yeah,
Lakeville, they've got Smokies,
enlighten us.
man. It's up by
Enlighten us.
Smokies. It's
Enlighten us.
up by Smokies. Smokies
Where's
barbecue.
Smokies? How do you get to Smokies?
In East Bethel.
East Bethel.
Where is that?
Gold, you need to get out
He
of
uses
your
his GPS to still get to his mom's house in Prior Lake. So you know he has no idea where he's going. He
Me?
just
I use
follows.
the GPS. You're
No,
talking.
PMAC does.
Oh, I was like, okay. I thought you were
I'm a
talking about
huge
me. I was like,
GPS guy. I don't want to
yeah,
run
you
into
are.
traffic. I hate traffic.
Insane.
I'm a big GPS. I own it. Don't deny it. I don't deny it.
But
Lakeville,
like he
no,
knows where any of these places are, he just sticks them in the GPS.
Get smoked
Lakeville
at
North.
Smokies, P-Mac.
on to Lakeville North,
Lakeville North.
36-16, a 69% winning percentage. Nice. State appearances in 2021 and 2023, winning the state championship in 2023. Not a big deal. They're going for their back-to-back in 2024. Lakeville North, the Panthers. This is a program that's been, in the mix for years, dating back to the pre-COVID days. Now we're post-COVID. The Panthers, they aren't going anywhere. At least not in 2024. I can tell you that. What do we think about Lakeville North? If anything, I think they'd be higher on the list.
I think they're gonna win again.
I've last year I think that was probably one of the most skilled rosters they've ever had. In my experience with Lakeville North, no, I'm not trying to say this in a disrespectful way, but they haven't always been the most skilled. But they've been like super, super gritty, super tough. It's always a physical game when you're playing Lakeville North. So I'm not super surprised by some of the losses. Just to the fact that if you have like a very, very skilled team, I think they can kind of win that. But last year, having skilled on top of grit, I think that was the lethal combination to take them all the way to the championship.
And with that, they're in the South Suburban Conference, right? So this record, is in a tough conference too.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a not fantastic record, I guess, for what you would say a championship caliber team, but they're gritty. They fight. They want to win, and last year they found a way to do it. Yeah, I think that was kind of a bit of a surprise. I think that win for them last year for some people, but that
For
Quint
some,
Powers,
for some,
that Quint Powers kid is just nasty. Like, not much you can do when you have a good face-off guy that's also really good at lacrosse.
it helps.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to do
And he's
anything
coming
again.
back, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
On to the next one. Matamidi, 33-17, 66% winning percentage, state tournament appearance. First one in the post-COVID era, 2023. Like Centennial, this is just a community that's been bought into boys lacrosse, for years, right? I remember, back when I was a player, in high school and youth even, Matamidi has been in the mix. I don't know, it's a smaller community, smaller program, but they've been winning lacrosse games for years. And I'm not surprised they made this list.
They're to me like a beacon of like boys lacrosse. I don't know why I always am thinking when I think boys lacrosse, I'm always thinking Matamita is like in the top 4 teams.
Yeah, they've always made it. I don't know if I would put them as a
Well,
top
yeah,
four,
they're in the
but
top 11.
um, yeah, I don't really have much to say on Matamita. They've what their coach. I've heard his name, Moose, is their former coach. It's like everyone talk. If you mention Matamidai, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, back when Moose coached." I don't really know much about the guy, but I guess he built the program up pretty good.
On to St. Thomas Academy, 31-16, a 66% winning percentage. Last state tournament appearance was in 2021. Being a private school, they've had talent. I think they run into maybe some depth issues that has not slowed them down from winning games. A team that has run into some tough battles in section. They're in a tough section 3. They've been in the mix. They've been in the mix every year in and year out. We've been talking about coaching changes. It seems like every other program. They're another one that's gone through a transition with their staff over the last couple of years. I think that's stabilized now. They've had the same staff now, going into year 2 or 3. So yeah, again, they've been winning games. They're going to continue to win games, I believe. Are they going to get over the hump of a tough section in 2024? We shall see.
Yeah, St. Thomas, they're pretty good. Had a nice experience of how good they were last year. They whooped up on us pretty bad. They've had what was it? Is it Hudson? There's one just graduated, and now they got a young one coming up. He was a freshman last year. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised they'll continue to be pretty good. Frank Clark, he's kind of an OG in Minnesota lacrosse. He's running their program, and yeah, they'll probably we'll see what they can do this year.
This is the sleeper for me that I'm just like, how did they make this list?
St. Thomas.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, we always talk about them, but for some reason they just are like completely non-existent to me. For no other reason other than my own bias.
All right. The 13th team to sneak into this list, the Hornets of Edina, 30-16, 52% winning percentage. They have not made state yet in the post-COVID era. A team, talking about, teams in tough sections. Section 6, they keep running into the Lakers amongst other teams. There's been some epic battles between the Lakers and the Hornets. Even dating, as near back as last season. The Hornets, they win a lot of games. They're always in the mix in their section. They're always, they've got some dominant players. When we go, the section breakdown, when we dive into the weeds of, each team and whatnot, they're going to be right back, if not, even more back. Just kind of getting a year older with some of these guys. So, the Hornets, if Edina was a stock, I think I would buy it here. Because at 13th on the list, I think they're only going to go up over the next couple of years.
I would agree on buying stock in Edina right now. They had a very young team last year, and those young kids were good. Were very good. So, like you said, I think their stock is only rising. I'm honestly surprised they're this low
I was gonna say the same thing. That's my
on
biggest surprise on the boys' side
on
of how
this
low they are.
list. But then again, I mean, maybe they're. But you look at the number differential in like lost games from Prior Lake down. There's
Yeah.
four games between how is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 teams. So it's like this list is really tight in this top 13 for the boys. But yeah, Edina, I just feel like that team, considering how well they do in the playoffs, granted they have a tough go in the section championship game, but it's never like they never get blown out in that section championship game. It is always an electric game. Everyone's on their toes. Everyone voice is gone the next day from watching that game. So to be honest, having that many losses on, it's like, who are they losing to? Because
So
they are competing with the best of the best in the.
Yeah.
so
I feel the same way, Goltz.
being a young team last year, 2 years ago, they were even younger. So in 2021, they were an old team, epic overtime game against Prior Lake in the section final. 2022 is kind of when they took a little bit to the chin, a little bit with a really, really young roster. 2023, they came back. And I think they're going to be all the way back, even more back in 2024. So I think a lot of these losses here, kind of looking at the Lax Hub, it all kind of came, not all, but a lot of it came from one season in 2022, kind of during a rebuild year, if you want to call it that.
I could see them jumping a lot. Like if we do this next year, I could see them being like up like 5 or 6 spots.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that.
All right, interesting. Love the points here. The last section, and I kind of like what our Lax Nerd source did here. The winningest lacrosse programs, boys and girls combined in the last 3 years. So kind of looking right at the community, at the school, combining everything. Who's winning the most. And again, I don't know if you did it by percentage or whatever. We can kind of look at all these different stats here. But I kind of liked. I never really thought of it. Right? You usually look at the boys and you usually look at the girls. As a community, as a school, who's the winningest? And it kind of makes sense, right? Before, when you think about it, Benilde, they've been winning a lot on the boys' side, barely have lost, and the girls have been on the rise, starting to make state tournaments, have won a championship now. Benilde St. Margaret's 101-12 as a school, almost at that 90% mark, 6 state tournament appearances in the post-COVID era, haven't missed one, and 3 championships. Not bad. Not bad, the Scarlet Knights.
Yeah. I'm just looking at this list. I know you just talked about BSM, but I'm really just looking at this list as a whole.
Same.
And it's very interesting because you see Stillwater, Maple Grove, Prior Lake, Chan, Edina all have like insane youth programs in terms of numbers and involvement. And then BSM just out of nowhere. Like,
So, and then my question is like, if you put the Lakevilles together, because their youth is together, that clearly you can't talk about a winning lacrosse program, boys or girls, without mentioning Lakeville South girls.
Or Lakeville North boys, though,
You know what I
so it's
mean?
like different.
Right.
Like,
So it's like we should put them as a city. If Benilde gets to be their own category,
I bet they wouldn't make the list though, because they've kind of had like one of, you know what I mean? Like two of
but
the
like
four.
the girls alone make up all of those wins.
I know, but
percent.
I'm saying, like, okay, let's say the one again, like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna call them out. Girls North is probably losing all their games, and girls South is winning. So that means they're 500, so they wouldn't make the list.
Well, right, I suppose then. Yeah.
I think we can all just be thankful that Lakeville North and Lakeville South are 2 separate schools. Could you imagine?
Could
you imagine? Retweet, Goltz, retweet.
Yeah.
That would be insane.
That would be nuts.
But yeah, so I mean, what's the draw? Like, I'm not trying to like bash BSM, but what's the draw to BSM? Where are they getting all their kids? I know on the boys' side, I'm not.
Well, like, this isn't BSM didn't pay to sponsor this episode, so we're not pumping BSM here. This is just, we're just looking at statistics, but you bring up a good point though, right? It's the only private school.
They don't have a youth program.
They don't have a youth program, right? So they're taking, right, from other programs essentially.
Yeah, I mean, so they are. I think it's like you can look at it that way. I'm not saying you are, but I think some people listening to this will look at it that way. That's like BSM is just poaching talent. but you can't just take that talent and like you can't just put any Joe Schmo into that like to coach that program and take those talented players and have that record. Like what are they like doing? Like I don't know the girl side of it, but obviously they're doing something good. Most of this comes off of the the Horn dynasty. But that doesn't mean that Palermo had a fantastic season last year, stepping in. But most of these wins, like so, it's like Horn. Like, how much are they doing, like outside of? I don't know what I'm really trying to say here. I'm struggling with some words, but
I think I get your
like
yeah, but
their
it's the
coaches are
structure,
clearly
right?
doing
It's the
something.
structure, it's the
Yeah,
programming, it's the off season, it's the weight training. What are it's it and that all you can summarize that into culture, right? But like the culture of the program. I don't really like saying that, but like what's the structure of the program? Clearly BSM has a good structure, right? It and a good culture, right? They clear like these coaches and these players aren't showing up on April 1 without doing anything else and expecting to win. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And you can say that about every program on this list. Stillwater, right? They're obviously doing stuff in the offseason. They're obviously doing other sports. They're obviously practicing lacrosse in the offseason and doing extra. And you can say that about Maple Grove, and I know that about Prior Lake and the kids in Prior Lake, and Chanhassen as well, and Edina as well, right? You can say that about every single program. Is BSM doing it 5 to 10% better than everybody else? Sure. Yes. And that and right,
It shows.
that's equated into more state tournament appearances and more championships. But um, you know, I think this is you're just pumping up BSM. Like, look at this whole list. Like all of these
Right.
schools, all of these programs have the correct structure. And if you're not on this list, I would be trying to take notes and ask the questions you're asking, Golds. What's the structure to the program and to make them this successful?
I
Yeah.
think too, and obviously we're talking about BSM because they top this list, not to just pick them out because like people have their opinions or whatever, but it goes to show that the winningest programs have to have both decent and like, well, not decent, a top 10-ish winningest boys and girls program together. Because like we had those couple anomalies in there and that they didn't transfer to this list. And this is just a stat that the nerd pulled. But at the same time, I think the way you're talking about structure, Benilde has, they have an AD that supports them. They have parents who have bought in. They have parents who are volunteering their time to have board meetings. In all of these programs, I'm sure there's a group of parents that are involved and, working with the coach to do all of that extra stuff off of the field and the coaching staff and supporting the head coach with his or her needs. The athletic director is on their side. The kids obviously are bought in and the captains help and they're all, doing their schoolwork. It's like it's everything. And I'm glad the target is off of Prior Lakes back a little bit because that used to be a question I've even gotten, and I'm lowest on the totem pole at Prior Lake of like, what do you do? What is it? How does Prior Lake get so good? And it's like it's not one thing. It starts with, for us, it is the youth, but all of these kids that go to Benilde participated in their youth. They didn't, like you said, like Golds, you're not just picking out Joe Schmoes that sign up to Benilde at 7th or 8th grade and are like, oh, you're going to be a great lacrosse player. Like they have already been invested in lacrosse and then happen to go there for their high school choice, which again, that's buy-in. That's, they've made that choice and they like it and they like the sport, and the coaching staffs are taking also, brand new kids too. So it's like you kind of got to give them a little bit more credit because they're not knowing these kids coming in. You never know who's going to show up day one of 9th grade. And they just kind of you gotta make a winning team. And that you don't just make a winning team out of nobody. There's a lot of extra stuff in the background that goes on, I'm sure. Sure of it.
Golds.
I mean, yeah, Katie kind of just, I mean, she said a lot of good stuff right there, about
Thanks,
just,
Colts.
because like I wasn't necessarily like, I don't know. I feel like you kind of like said it in a way that I was asking the questions. Like I'm kind of more asking the questions for the viewers,
Yeah,
because like I know what goes into these successful
right.
programs. Not to like sit here and pat myself on the back and be like I know everything,
Oh,
but
it's true though, because
I've been
people, getting into the sport are like, how are they so good? It's like it's been
yeah.
years, and we
Um
all know that.
yeah, because I think it, and like the way I was really trying to go at it was to kind of really target the fact that I think a lot of people, oh, they're private schools, oh, they got it easy over there kind of thing,
Yeah, right.
where it's not that easy, like you just pointed out, where you just fill people in. I don't think it's easy anywhere, because at a public school you have to, like, you're dealing with 100 kids in a program, so it's like how do you satisfy 100 kids in the program? At the private school, though, like you said, it's kids from all over the place. They're not like at Prior Lake or at Stillwater. They all grew up together. At Benilde, at Cretin-Derham
St.
Hall, at
Thomas
St.
Academy,
Thomas
yeah.
Academy, they're all from different places, all from different locations, all from different walks of life. Some people have to wake up and drive an hour to go to school. Some people are 15 minutes away. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And yeah, I don't think there's any one magic recipe, but like you said, you got to get everyone involved. You have to get people invested. For most of the public schools, it starts at the youth. And then, but at the private schools, you can't just sign up in ninth grade and say, I'm playing lacrosse
Right,
either. So,
And I
right.
think I think it kind of proves, right, that it's not just what's Benilde doing, copy it. What's Prior Lake doing, copy it. What's Stillwater doing, copy it. Like you, every community is different. Every
Yeah.
school's district is different. Um, different things. Different things are going on in different areas of the state. So you kind of got to figure out what's the culture, again, to kind of summarize in one word. What's the culture of your community? What make it work, in the way that's gonna best foster and best pump up the kids and the families and the community, in your area.
Word.
Well, Goltz, thanks for joining us this evening to break down this list. Um, I thought it was interesting, to kind of look back in the era that we are currently in, the post-COVID era, before we start looking forward, as we break down each section, and kind of dive into each team here, starting here in February. We just ripped through January. That was a blink of an eye. So February here before we know it. Section breakdowns are in our near future. Um, hope I don't know. I thought it was interesting to look back before we look forward. Um, Goltz, you're going to be joining us at the Coaches Summit, no?
yeah, I haven't registered yet. Still trying to talk with our fearless leader Evan Hylock on working the deal with getting our registration paid for by the Blake School of
Love that.
Excellence.
Love that.
Love that.
Love
But
that.
nonetheless, whether it gets paid for by the
Professional
school
development.
or
File it up.
not, I will be there. I will find a way to register and get to that summit. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. A lot of great speakers. I had to take some notes from Coach Clem on the pod a few weeks ago to walk in there and not think I'm the smartest guy in the room, because sometimes that's really hard for me to do. But I'll get out the notepad, try to take some notes away, and like Ted said, I might make depending on where I think I can learn from, I might pop into some of the girls um seminars and see what they have to offer, see if I can take anything from their game and add it to mine. So yeah,
I've
that'll
told
be
you
fun.
time and time again, you'd be an awesome girls coach.
Oh yeah. I mean, thank you. I should say thank you for that before I start bragging about myself. But Midbow and I have talked about it just based on the rule book because we think there's some fairly dumb rules
Well,
in
there are.
girls lacrosse. Like just there's dumb rules we think that there's in boys lacrosse too. But the whole fact that you guys don't have a time limit to clear the ball blows my mind. The goalie
Yeah.
can like leave the crease and then are they allowed to go back in
Yes, that's a new rule.
or something like that? So, I mean, maybe sneak peek to all these girls coaches out there that are struggling to win one goal games. You get
Yeah.
ahead. If you get ahead, take your whole team, have a
Yeah,
campfire
there's no
around
stall rule either.
the crease and have your goalie get the ball and just sit there and walk in and
Yeah.
out. Just gave you guys the secret to winning a few
Yeah.
extra games. So,
Thank you. Thank you,
uh,
Golds.
So we're going to do some real coaching development and real learning. Goltz, you don't have to worry. Goltz won't be a speaker for the girls program or the boys, but he won't be speaking on how to win girls lacrosse game, 1-goal games. But I am excited about the lineup as Gold said. I'm excited about the lineup of speakers. Shout out our sponsor, Old Southern Barbecue. They'll be making sure that we are all well fed at lunch. Um, and then we got a little networking opportunity. Get to connect with like-minded people. These coaches. I'll speak for myself. I know I'm a little weird. I think we're all a little weird. Everyone on this call is a little weird. And it's good connecting with like-minded weird coaches. So I'm excited for that opportunity. Meet coaches in the area. And we're gonna be doing that at the Point. Shout out them. A good family-owned local business. They've got kids in the lacrosse community as well. So I'm happy that we get to support their local business as well on February 17th. If you're interested, you want more information, downthealleypod.com/summit. You can also register there. And I'm excited to see you. And if we don't already know each other, meet you on February 17th. If you're from out of state, we also have a virtual option. So you can sign up for the virtual summit, same day, same time, not the same place. You can do that from your couch. So down the alley, Coaches Summit. Thanks for tuning in this week. We will be back next week with a Section 1 breakdown. Thanks for tuning in. Adios.
thanks for having me as always.